two sons, Rob and Brad, we felt like we were home. We were in our little part of paradise for a week.
Absolutely, and they have beautiful log cabins you stay in while you're there with the fireplaces and everything. And we were able to take our two Brittany's, Holly and Gypsy, with us, and they had a ball in between hunts. We took them out pheasant hunting, and just a great place to be.
It was. It was really, really exciting. We had some struggles, though, with the weather. It was truly Michigan weather.
That's for sure. You know, we were kind of glad several days we had our Can-Am with us, our four-wheeler, because let me tell you, we needed it to get back to some of those spots. And but the wind, rain, snow even. We had a couple inches of snow.
Yes, we did.
When we did the open of this show. You saw it, I'm sure. But it was just crazy weather, and the wind was not to our favor 5 of the 6 days, so we struggled.
After we arrived, our first afternoon was spent checking things out. As we drove past one of the blinds we were going to hunt, we were shocked to see several nice bucks right under the stand. Continuing on, Rob glassed these big guys just passing through this group of pine trees. There appeared to be a couple of really nice bucks among them as well. We were getting pumped up for the start of our hunt the following day. As my afternoon hunt started, I had this group of does and fawns pass through at about 4 p.m. No bucks were with them, though. At around 5 p.m., this nice buck came out, and I was really tempted. However, it was only the first night, and I wanted to see what else was in the area. So I passed, all the while hoping that I hadn't just made a big mistake. Evening number 3. The wind was really swirling, and this decent 8-point was checking the breeze out. I again decided to pass on him as well, in hopes of something a little bigger and a little older. Later that afternoon, this huge flock containing thousands of blackbirds were gathering for their annual migration south. They continued to pass by us for 15 minutes. It was quite a sight, and the sound, to say the least, was spectacular.
Well, we're still trying. The weather's not in our favor. We've tried to wait out snow squalls all day. The weather right now is 32 degrees. Sure doesn't feel like the middle of October. It doesn't look like the middle of October either. Usually we'd be fighting off mosquitoes right now. Instead, we've got snowflakes. The wind is swirling, so, you know, we could either wait and say the wind isn't perfect, but we don't have a chance at a deer if we're not sitting here. So our option, we're going to sit here. If we have to use the heater, we'll use the heater. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon. So from what we've seen with the deer, from the pattern of the deer, they seem to be coming in. You get a batch that'll come in around 2:30. You get a batch that comes through around 4. And then, of course, about 45 minutes before dark, you get a whole bunch of big boys. So we're going to see what happens with the weather. With the storm front coming in, maybe they're hungry. It rained all day yesterday, so all we can do is try.
Finally, at 5 p.m., these 2 big fellas came running out. I'd seen the one several times before, and I decided this might be the one.
I'm on him, Sue.
He's down. Were you taping, Rob?
I hope so. I'm sure the light was on. You know me, so I'm watching.
What time is it? It's like a few minutes after 5.
Yeah.
The wind has been swirling nonstop. It's been a really quiet set as far as the deer movement. And I think it was maybe 10 minutes ago, Rob said, boy, you know, we're not seeing the bucks we normally see. And so you just get patient, and the wind swirls, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 2 big bucks come walking in. And the one I've been looking at he's got a main beam, like
it
it's
looks
a
like
new
a new main beam. Yeah,
like a new main beam forming.
There it is.
And boom, there he was. And I'm like, whoa. And of course, you know, when you got to rely.
He came across this field running. He stopped. That's about a little over 100 yards, I bet, where he stopped.
Yep.
He looked right at you.
Yeah, he did look right at me. And there were 2 nice bucks.
Oh, the other one was a big 8-point.
But now I've watched him go down, so this is just chitter-chatter as far as I'm concerned, folks. Let's go out and look at what I waited.
You saw him go down? I watched the other ones run.
I'm positive I watched him go down. Don't argue with me, Trot. Let's just do it.
Cool.
Good work.
It's right over here. I watched him fall, and I can see him from here.
Well, just like I told you in the blind, I could walk right up to this buck. And I'll tell you, I don't think I've ever shot a more beautiful, I know I've never shot a more beautiful buck, but I have one story to tell you that you aren't even going to believe. I watched the buck drop from the blind. I heard a crash, and I told Rob I heard the crash. Well, then I saw him kicking his feet, so that's what I figured I heard, right? Wrong. My buck crashed into a tree and took off half of his rack. The rack's just sitting here on this side. And that funny point that I told you about, well, here's part of it. Curves right around, hooks in here. Now, Rob's been hunting more years than I have, and he said he's never seen a buck break its rack. I don't think it's my year. My buck breaks half of his rack. As you can tell, one of his brow tines is still missing. We haven't found that yet. So, here's my 8-point for the season. And right now, I've got to still keep looking for something. So I don't know. You know, I don't know if I really want to be the first of anybody's ever seen their deer run into a tree and break the rack. What do you think, Rob?
Well, I think it's a huge deer. If we can find that brow tine, Bob Parkey will piece it back together, that's for sure. It's a beautiful deer. That deer is huge. We'll show the body here in a minute, but that deer weighs well over 200 pounds.
What did I say, though, when we were walking out? I was anxious to get out of the blind, and I said, you know, every time I shoot a buck, it ends up with ground shrinkage. I really didn't think this was going to happen.
You shouldn't have said that, because we knew it wasn't going to go any shrinkage. We watched this buck for 3 days now. But, you know, if we can find that brow tine, we're in good shape. We've got everything else, but I've never seen it. We'll go back and show that tree he ran. But, you know, he only went about 30 yards, and he ran right dead into that tree and broke half the rack right off. So.
Well, follow me, and I'll take you to see the tree.
All right.
Here's the tree he hit. He didn't run 30 yards when he hit this tree. And you can see right where the rack came, right where he hit it. I picked up one rack 3 foot away, the big piece of the rack. And if you see where he landed, that's where he ended up. So, it's got to be my biggest buck. It's my shortest trailing buck because I watched him fall. And it's the only time I've ever had a buck break the horns. So I don't know. You know, I don't know what'll happen November 15th now. I don't think I can beat this story.
Well, Susie, in all my years of hunting deer and big bucks, I have never seen a buck run into a tree like that and just shatter his rack, especially the one side. It was just unbelievable, and I know you were disappointed, but thank God we had a good taxidermist. And Sue gets on her cell phone out in the field. She's calling Bob Parkey and saying, Bob, can you fix this? And he's kind of laughing. He says, well, it happens a couple times a year. Well, I've never seen it.
I hope I never see it again. I've never shot an 8-point that became a 4-point before I walked up to it. But I've never shot one that I watched drop. And what can you say?
That's right. But, you know, now I figure I got a chance to beat her. She's only got a 4-point. Well, 4.5 point, whatever. So, what do you say we go to